Hello and welcome to my channel Emma's Life in Norfolk. This channel is all about videos of my life in Norfolk, my garden in Norfolk and other things that I get up to. Thank you so much for those of you that have just recently started following my channel. So the first clip is a tour of my garden on the last day of winter. So I go round, show you exactly how my garden is. And then you will see the next tour is a clip of my garden in the first day of spring. Because as I mentioned a couple of times in my video, spring has sprung. So in the United Kingdom, spring is officially, I don't know whether it's the same every year, but it's the 1st of March. And I've been so excited about spring and the garden and this warmer weather arriving, I can't tell you. And what was so lovely was the first day of spring really was sunny. I was outside with my coat on, but actually I could have taken my coat off. My daughter was outside with no jumper on, no coat on. She went and got her sunglasses. I did laugh at that. I thought maybe that is a step too far. But she had her t-shirt on as well. So it was really, really nice. So I show you a little clip where you can see the hedge work that I did the other day. But in this video, you'll see me cutting back a lot of the borders. So really, really important job, as I've said many times, to do before the frost arrives, really. So here where I live, probably around October, November is the best time to do that. But for a whole variety of reasons, I haven't. And actually in previous years, I haven't done it until really, really late when I'm clearing the borders. And then suddenly the new growth is competing with the old. So this year I did really want to start cutting that back, because I didn't do it in October, November time, whilst being sensitive about the pollinators and insects. Because as I said in my last video, I don't want to upset them or risk disturbing them where they're still being protected by the leaves and the weeds. Now you can see on my tour of the garden, this end section is absolutely full of pots. The pots that I planted with bulbs are doing really, really well, so I'm pleased about that. So very soon we'll transfer those to the front garden and they'll be flowering by my front door. There are lots of other pots I need to sort through. As I said the other day in the greenhouse, I often struggle to find pots of the right size. And I think, well, how can that be when I've got so many pots? You'll see my lupins on the video that I repotted the other day. They are doing splendidly. I grew them last year. I need to let my mum know actually, because she bought me these for my birthday. So I've got red lupins and I've got some yellow lupins. So I'm so excited, because this being their second year and the fact that they're so strong, they will definitely flower. Well, fingers crossed. I have got a lot of tidying and sorting out to do in my greenhouse. I'm really hoping that my husband will replace the panes of glass which are broken. And he always cleans my greenhouse out with Jay's fluid. So I'm hoping he's going to do that. We also need to reset the watering. The greenhouse has still been watered for too long given the weather. So we need to change that. So it's just watered probably once a day and just for a minute. Whereas at the moment, I think it might be being watered for 2 minutes, maybe even twice a day. So we need to look at that. You can also see some of my vegetables, which I probably will leave some of the vegetables, but I've got lots of plans for my vegetable section. My fence is partly collapsed, so I need to ask my husband to look at that. And I've also got some soft fruit growing in one of the pots, which I need to make sure I water really well. Last year I got quite a few raspberries, so here's hoping that I'll get quite a few more this year. So you can see just there on the video where I've got that line of the pots that I picked out, all of which have got bulbs coming up. The first pot, I think they're coming up blind, which is disappointing, but all the others are coming up really strongly. So that's good news. You'll also see the area which is looking really lovely and dark soil ready for me to grass. So I'll rake that over and put some grass seed probably in the next few weeks. And then there's some other areas which I just need to put some patch magic. I've actually got 2 pot containers of patch magic that I got for my birthday present last year, so I can use some of that. And then you'll see the border which I start cutting back today. You'll see me cutting back. I don't do much weeding because, as I said, I am concerned about the insects, but you will see me cutting the old growth right back and generally having a tidy up in my garden. The paddling pool sitting there is a bit frustrating because my dad was going to fix that for me and he hasn't, and I imagine it's probably now fit for the bin. He was going to take it to his house and then it just got wet and I needed to dry it before he put it in the car, etc, etc. And my husband is planning to clear up all the things around the hot tub. So we're no longer going to have that area as an area of just random storage because that's all going to be tiled. I didn't get to use the hot tub at all this last year because I was waiting for it to be tiled. You can see I've got some tete-a-tete coming up in the pot, which I'm pleased about. There's no tall plants in that pot though. And there's a few things that I just need to be done at the side there. And then I go on to show you the difference. 1 day difference. Look how bright and sunny the garden is. It's so beautiful. So bright and sunny that actually I put the washing on the line. The only thing is I've left it on the line. So let's hope that it's also sunny tomorrow morning because certainly it'll be damp again. But see how bright it is. The solar panel on my little water thing there for the birds was going off, and it just felt absolutely lovely, and I was so pleased. My daughter came outside and was actually doing some of her homework outside in the garden. It's really nice. You can see the little bit that I tidied round, so I'm going to do some more on that and probably put some more shingle down there from where my pots go. Need to put the step ladder back, although I did use that today on the other side. And you can just see when it's brighter how lovely it is, the sun shining through. So my plan tomorrow is when we get back from church, I'm going to repot all the lupins in the tray that I didn't get a chance to do the other day, and also I'm going to pot some of my thistle plants which I've got there in a tray. So I'll hopefully get all of that done. Thing is, once you start potting one tray up, that takes so much space, doesn't it? And then by the hot tub, I've got 2 big plastic bags of soil, of compost. So I'm going to ask my husband if he can move them down the garden for me. But yeah, it was really lovely just to see the contrast, really. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing the difference when it's sort of nice and sunny. And then you will see what I embark on today. So cutting everything back. So is that a job that you're going to start focusing on? Have you got much to cut back in your garden, or have you already done it? And you can see how the path is covered in leaves. There's lots for me to really get stuck into. So I'm going to be trying to fill up this bin today, this green bag. And I'm going to start by cutting back, and then, depending upon time and weather, I will then weed the whole area. And I might put some of the lupins in that I've grown in the greenhouse. So a lot of this, in an ideal world, I would have cut back after the summer and before the frost, but that's an ideal world, isn't it? So quite a few people have said that they like to hear the birds in the garden as opposed to doing all of the video fast forwarded. So you have to let me know what you prefer. It's a big weed. So lovely to see everything coming up, and today it's the first day of spring. I'll probably say that more than once on this video. Some plants are really lovely, but they just expand massively. Don't know if my mic can actually be heard. Sort of just bending down, really. I might change that in a bit. I like mint, but if you put mint in a bed, we all know what happens. Ouch. I think I'm kneeling on a stone. Ouch. My normal cushion that I use is not there, which is a bit of a shame. Don't know where it is. I've got a garden one that I take wherever I go. One time I was doing some gardening at someone's house, helping out, and I left it behind, and I think he thought that I was a bit crazy because I contacted him and said, "Oh, I left my cushion behind, I want that." I've had that for 20 years and I use it every time I'm in the garden. It's a bit too high for me to keep climbing into. I need my buckets. Where did I put my buckets? Now I know where I'll put my garden bucket. It'll either be left in the place where I last used it, which is when I cut back the hedge, or it'll be in my safe place. Right, well, it's not where I was last working. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Down the end of the garden. Ah, and he fell then. It's a problem. I've got so many things everywhere. I need to really tidy up. I do need to get tidier in the garden. I really do. Not always easier, as many of you know. It doesn't come naturally to me. But there you go. Not one of these people that's going to have an immaculate garden, because that's not how I want my garden. If it's an immaculate garden, it's not likely to be particularly popular with wildlife. And actually, wildlife in the garden is very important to me. Oh, I wish I knew where my pillow was. It's so annoying. Oh, there it is. Oh, this blanket's just not the same. There's my good old favourite pillow. Oh, I'm calling it a pillow, it's a cushion. This used to sit on a chair in our old house. Yay! That's good. You can see I've got an awful lot of grass that's grown over in the border. An awful lot. I'm just hoping that I don't come across any chrysalises. I found a chrysalis one year. I'll never forget that. And I bought it indoors in a jar, and we kept it on the side and we watched it. And then that started to come out of the break free. My daughter was at school and I was so excited about it. I felt tempted to pick her up earlier from school. Anyway, on this one particular day, she was coming home at lunchtime and it was about to fully emerge. But do you know what happens? Whatever was in the chrysalis, something else had got into it, eaten the contents of what was inside, and it was this like parasitic, it wasn't a wasp, it was some sort of flying, biting bug. We've got a friend who knows about all different types of insects and all different types of spiders, and he messaged me and he was like, wow, and I thought, I'm not sure it is wow, because I thought it was going to be a beautiful butterfly. But there you go. All nature. all helps the pollinating plants and food, which the world is crying out for. These ones I used to really like. I encouraged them to grow from underneath the neighbour's garden. But actually, that grows like weeds. And I've got lots of mind your business there as well. So you can see there's lots of cutting back. I've got coarse grass in this bed, which I think I mentioned at some point in the video. Once you've got it, oh my goodness, it's really hard to get rid of and get out. But I didn't concentrate on the weeds and the grass. I just focused on cutting the old growth from last year. So the sticks and just sort of general bits that were just dead. I did pick up a few leaves, but again, I was quite sensitive with the amount of leaves. I'm gonna go through all of my beds and cut them back, so get rid of all the old growth, and then I'm going to go over them again and weed and actually dig over with one of my little hand forks. It was just lovely being outside though, and it was so sunny. Really, really nice. So I managed to do the whole of this bed. I do like I take my bucket around with me. I do like having that. And I managed to fill up this plastic, the plastic bag as well. So my bin is full and the plastic bag is full, which is really, really good. I'm hoping that it'll go down a little bit in my bin and I'll be able to get some more in. And then anything that's left over, I will then put in once the bin's collected, because the bin is collected in a few days. There were also some hollyhock seeds and flower heads, and I was tempted to keep some of them, but when I then looked at them, actually quite a lot had already dropped, and then I thought, actually, I've got all my seedlings. I've got lots of hollyhock seedlings that I grew last year that I need to prick out and pot on, because they're all squashed at the moment on one tray. I literally got a handful of seeds and put in the whole tray, so I do need to do that. That's why I need so many pots, you see. That's why I need so many pots, because I've got so many individual flowers. This bit here has got a little bit overgrown because I've got a hawthorn, which has gone a bit, seems to love this location. And then I've got one of my old rambling roses, which had flopped over. So I trimmed that and then moved it up. So rather than that kind of bending over and down, I'm going to try to trail it up to the hawthorn. When it flowers, it's a lovely light pink, and like the other rose that I talk about a little bit later, it's very old. I don't think you could buy it now. I don't know. It's probably been in the garden since like the 1940s, 1950s, because you can see it on the photographs that I've got from the house with the original owner, which is really lovely. I do also, when I come back and weed, I probably need to reposition my stone ornaments that you can see there in the picture, because she's a little bit precarious, so I do need to make sure that she's stable. She's fallen over a couple of times in the winds, and you would not believe how heavy she is. Really, really heavy. I have to get a bit of rope and winch her up. It's really, really difficult. So I managed to get quite a lot done. So I wasn't out in the garden for ages doing this section, but I just did quite a lot. So this morning we started off, I helped my daughter with her Spanish revision. And then while she was continuing, I came out and did this weeding before lunch. And then I came in for lunchtime and I did a little bit more in the afternoon. But of course, because it is the first day of spring, yes, the sun was shining, but of course the sun starts going in quite early. So it did start getting cooler again in the afternoon. So I'm really interested to know what your plans are in the garden. What are you focusing on? What are you doing? A few of you who followed me do have gardening channels. and so I've followed you back. But it'd be nice to hear what plans people have got. Are you going to plan to grow any flowers, any vegetables? What are you going to do? Even if you've got really, really small areas, remember you can grow things in very small pots. So even if you've got a really small area, you can grow something. But you can see there on my little concrete path, it's got quite covered with leaves, but I don't clear that all up today. I'll do more of that as the weather is a bit more secure and we know we're not going to get any more frosts. I'm also going to redo my herb area. So I've got quite a few pots there where the herbs are finished. Either they were just annual, so I need to sort those through as well. Okay, so this whole area needs to be cut right back. My daughter just helped me with my microphone, and I said to her, if you keep helping me, I'm not going to be able to do it when you're at school. Now she's dancing around in the sun, because this is the first day of spring, and what an absolutely glorious day for the first day of spring. I've got this coat on all done up, really not because I need it, but because I've got all things in my pockets. So this whole area needs to be cut back. Like I said the other day, really, I should have cut this back before the first frost, but we are where we are. I'm not going to be weeding. I'm just going to be cutting back. The reason I'm not going to be weeding, a few different things. I've got lots of different plants coming up, aquilecias and other plants, which are now starting to grow. And also, I don't want to disturb the insects too much and pollinators. So I'm going to spend some time now cutting back. So what I'm cutting back here is a bit of a mixture. There were a few lupins. Here, I call them Michaelmas daisies. Someone said to me they're not Michaelmas daisies, but there are lots of different types of Michaelmas daisies. These ones flower right in autumn, which is fantastic because I'm just wondering what that is. Looks like a tree. We've got a few houses away. They've got a walnut tree, and the squirrel brings walnuts from that garden. So sometimes I end up with walnut trees. Yeah, so these, they're like light purple and they spread like wildfire. But it's really nice to have them in autumn where on my garden the colour starts fading and then suddenly I have this wonderful display of little tiny daisies. They almost spread like weeds. In lockdown I sold quite a lot of them. It's that bamboo that can go in there. And the other thing I'm careful about is I have lots of forget-me-nots coming up. and forget-me-nots put on quite a nice display. I just now avoided digging up a dandelion. Someone tell me in the comments why I didn't pull the dandelion up. Really big dandelion which is about to flower. Just a lot of weeds here and a lot of that coarse grass. God dear, once you get coarse grass in your garden, it's a bit of a nightmare to try and get rid of, but there you go. What I find hard is managing a thicker border like this is where you stand, because I feel like wherever I'm going to stand on a plant. You just got to be careful, I suppose. I think, what would Monty do? Monty, what was his name? Monty Don. What would he do? And I just cut these into smaller pieces. And people might think, why are you doing that? But it's to help me get more in my bin. And then after I've done a little bit of this, I'm going indoors to do a practice French test. So we've already done the Spanish. I can't believe how well my daughter's getting on with Spanish. Well, I can believe, but I thought she'd get on well, but she's getting on really well. So that pleases me. And the teacher said, oh, her accent. She's got an amazing accent. And what I think is really funny is my daughter said to me yesterday, the French teacher's accent, you can hear she's English. And I think, how do you know that? How can you hear that? I mean, I can just understand basic French. I got quite a good GCSE result, but really, GCSE is quite basic. And I couldn't hear accents. I knew my own accent was not very good, but I certainly couldn't hear whether it was a Parisian accent or an English accent or etc. I've got the washing on the line, so if you follow my other channel, I've just literally put my washing on the line. So that's good. My husband's watching the football after making all the lunches for us, which was nice. Although unfortunately I didn't really enjoy my lunch, because just before my lunch I got a message through from somebody who I sold something to on eBay saying I still don't have the item. And I posted the item almost a month ago. And I said to my husband, oh, where's the proof of postage? I've got absolutely no clue where the proof of postage is. It's not in any of my safe places. So that's annoying. I'm going to put this in my big bag. The big bag is slowly getting full. Slowly getting full. Also, I'm really itching to have a look and see if the hedgehog is still in the house. Because when I did my big pantry sort out, I found some hedgehog food. Could drag this bag really. I think I'll drag the bag and then I can fill it up easier. Whoops. Also, I got some good news. My aunt and my cousins. Oh, can hear a dog shout, barking. My aunt and my cousins are coming over from America, which is good. Which is exciting. Big trap journey though. Big journey. My aunt is in her late 90s, so that's going to be a big trip. So it's got to take things easy. Unfortunately, they're only here for a week, which is a shame, but that'd be lovely to see them. I last saw them, of course, when we went over to America. Not last year, the year before, but other family members haven't seen them for many years. Don't work out what that tree is. It's times like this where you think, oh, I need 2 bins. Anybody else in the United Kingdom have 2 bins? I've just got the one. A lot of this is grass. I'm just trying to be so careful where I stand. So I'm nearly at the end of my video, so I hope you've enjoyed watching and seeing what I'm doing. I'm very interested to hear what you're all up to and any tips that you have for me. This is just part 1 of my tidy up. Well, probably, yeah, part 1. There's going to be many parts, but look out for part 2 in the next few days. And I managed to get quite a lot done, but after a bit I then like to move on to a different job. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for following. If you are new to my channel, please do let me know where you're from. It's really lovely to hear where people are watching from, and obviously different weather, different climates, different types of gardens. And I look forward to seeing you next time.